mean you just want to be friends? Pizza guy broke up with me. Again. Oh hi! Welcome to Pagefire, where God is dead and the fridge is empty. In more ways than one. So some of you have been asking, why can't I fly? Some of you have been asking, hey, what stuff do you use to make music? You know, what's your VST? What's your DAW? What's your credit card information? I'm getting to it! So in this video, we'll go through all of that. I hopefully don't forget one of them. Anyway, let's look at the stuff I use for music.
Okay, the first thing I want to talk about is what computer I have, and to be honest, I don't recommend it. I'll leave a link for it in the description either way, but the computer I bought didn't come with a graphics card, so it struggled a lot, and it's almost 4 or 5 years old, and I don't recommend it unless you're planning on upgrading it. And I recommend, getting someone who knows how to build a PC to just upgrade it for you and buy parts. And trust me, just buying and replacing parts is cheaper than just buying a whole new computer. So anyway, the first thing I want to talk about is my sound card. The sound card is called Focusrite Scarlet 2i4, and I've used it for 4 or 5 years and I still love it, and it's still really good and I still use it. The reason I bought it is because Fluff recommended it, and it has that, little red button that dampens the guitar signal so it doesn't come in too hot. I sort of know what that means. So yeah, if you just need a sound card to record guitar, bass, vocals, and you just need 2 ports and not 4 if you're gonna do a group thing, yeah, this sound card is really good for solo. And the speakers I have is Marcy's CR4 Multimedia monitors. To be honest, I only bought them because they were cheap. No other reason. I just bought them because I saw them in the store and was like, oh, they're really cheap, and I just bought them because of that. But they work really well. I can actually hear the bass for once when I listen to music, and that's very essential for me right now when it comes to recording and writing metal music, and of course listening to music and playing games, is to hear the bass just rumbling when the volume's at max, like Argh! Also don't put the volume at max. Take care of your hearing, kids. Bring ear protection when going to see concerts. And of course, the microphone. The microphone's called SC Electronic X1, I think. I'll put the name on the screen in case I'm wrong. As you can hear, this is a really good microphone, but what I actually love about it the most is that you can record with it in an untreated room. So you don't have to actually pad your room to cancel most of the room sound. If you're just talking like mid-loud like me in all my videos, then this microphone is perfect for you. If you're planning on doing a lot of yelling and voice acting, it might pick up some of the room, and I've noticed that a lot when I do like yelling for Pagefire, there's slight room reverb. But besides that, this microphone is perfect and I've used it for everything. Like when I record vocalists or my friend or myself talking for YouTube, it sounds perfect and I highly recommend it. And now for... what the fuck? And now for my DAW, also known as Digital Audio Workstation. My DAW is Reaper. Cocos Reaper to be specifically. If you just search Reaper, you might get the Overwatch character when you search on Google. Yeah, I've been using this DAW for like 4 or 5 years and I still use it, and I'm too lazy to switch. I'm tempted to switch to Studio One, but there's parts of Studio One that I don't like, especially when it comes to the mouse wheel, when zooming in and out. Really love Cubase. I really want to switch to Cubase at some point. Only problem is I don't want to sacrifice a USB stick just to use a fucking DAW. USB locks needs to die, please. Also, it's expensive as fuck. So yeah, what's a better way to show off my plugins than to actually demonstrate them? So starting with the obvious culprit here. Hello EZDrummer, how you doing? Let me just get this bad boy off screen. Now, as you guys have seen in all my videos, I always use EZDrummer, and that's because it's a really simple, really fun, but also just a really good drum plugin. I just love using it. Like all the samples Toontrack has put out, I love them so much that I started collecting most of these, especially for like rock, metal, and punk. I haven't tried like all the newest one, like dark matter and death metal, but so far they sound amazing. In fact, the default kit alone is pretty good. Yeah, like this drum set, I used, let's see, this with the Roomy Rock preset on the Rubius and a Haggard album, and the only thing I replaced was like the kick and the snare from the Metal Machine pack. And that's about it. Other than that, its drum sound alone sounds pretty good. Here's a demonstration. Yeah, it's pretty good. In fact, since a lot of my tutorials are like death metal, I always use like the metal exclamation mark. Yeah, as you can see, it's a pretty big kit, and like, even though the samples are like kinda or default for like death metal stuff, it still sounds pretty good. demonstration. But what sold me most on this drum set was the China here. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but this China is on like almost all of the songs I put out. Hell, I even put it on the Rubius and the Hagrid drum set. But of course, what I love mostly about this plugin is that you can easily just open this. I'm not gonna do it now because the computer sound card lags it. But you can just tap down a drum beat like... Yeah, there's a lot of lag, so... it gets this wonky beat. But the point is, you can plunk down a beat and then easily find it. And if you guys wonder like how I can make so many songs, it's just find the default standard drum beat, plunk it down, plunk the guitar riff and bass riff, and just edit the drums to match your guitar riff later. I would not recommend just placing the drum kits on and just leaving it unedited. Do some editing on the MIDI, and I'll gladly make a tutorial to expand on that. And of course, you can also export all the kits so you can like kick a snare separately and do volume balancing. No, opposite way. There you go. The end of that, just EZDrummer is just really good. And now let's move on to its more advanced, handsome brother. EZDrummer2. I almost called it Metal Machine, and that was like, no, that's not his name. And then I almost called it the EZDrummer. This is actually a second recording. In the first recording, I called it EZDrummer for some reason. Apparently, Superior Drummer is like a baby story for me. By the way, I don't have the Superior Drummer libraries downloaded because they're so big and I don't really have a need for them. Like the default kit is enough because then I can show you guys, oh, you can make songs like mine with just a standard basic drum VST. Well, this advanced one's like, it's cool, but you know what's actually more fun with it? Layering stuff. Yeah. Like, that's the only reason I use Superior Drummer is just, I want to take a EZDrummer drum set and then layer with a different drum set to get a much different sound. And I did use it in Cybergrind just for that. Just so I could layer a electronic drum set with a metal drum set to get that massive sound. And I would play an example, but let's see. And the first time I had to record it, it kind of lagged out. So let's see if that happens again. Yep, it's lagging, so I can't play this. Like, this requires a sound card. By the way, if you're gonna get into music, I do recommend getting a sound card. Sound cards are essential when it comes to mixing music, because then you get barely any lag when working on music and no delay, especially when you're recording guitar. And right now, there's a lot of delay with like playing samples and all that. That's because I'm just playing from my PC sound card. Save a life, then save up for a sound card. And next VST is Bias Effects. So yeah, Bias Effects, my guitar VST. Now, before I go on, I just want to say the company that made this have stopped selling it, and they're now just selling Bias Effects 2, which is a shame because I think Bias Effects 1 sounds better than 2, but that's just my opinion. But yeah, what I actually love about, Bias Effects 1 and 2 is that you can get a pretty good amp emulator, and then you can just plunk effects on it, and it comes with a lot of effects. Chorus and flangers, and a bunch of other choruses and flangers, plenty of delay, plenty of reverb, and of course, bias pedals, which I have the distortion version, but I don't use it as much. And of course, drivers and boost. Like, you can basically customize your pedal board in VST format, and it sounds pretty good, even though it's a little digital fuzzy here and there. And I made an example, both clean and dirty, or like metal and clean metal. Let's listen before I embarrass myself more. And now for the clean tone. So yeah, if you guys prefer this one or the other one, that's up to opinion. So let's now start with Bias Effects 2, and as you can see, it looks much cleaner and much more efficient, and also more crash-worthy. Ooh, fancy words there, Andri. Okay. So yeah, Bias Effects 2. I still think it sounds pretty good. That's of course just up to opinions, personally. And I also like the feature, you can emulate a guitar sound and do some post EQ stuff that I occasionally do with my songs. And of course, the clouds, I can just take someone else's guitar tone and make mine sound much better. I haven't had much chance to use VSTi 2, to be honest. Like, I bought it before the end of last year, but there's a lot of features over it that I enjoy over VSTi 1. Like, you can now put effects in between the amp and the speaker, and even do like this split thing, so you can just be like, okay, just this amp can have a delay. But no, everyone gets delay. See, sharing is caring, kids. And again, I haven't had much time to try it out. What I have tried out, it sounds pretty good, although I have a hard time creating a decent metal tone. Maybe that's just me. That's the sound examples. That's a lot of delay, I should probably turn it off. And here's the clean boy. I don't know why the EQ is like that. So yeah, when it comes to guitar emulators, I highly recommend Bias Effects. But also, don't be afraid to try something else that I don't use. You don't have to take my 100% recommendations here. And the next pack, that's actually a plugin pack called the Waves Gold Bundle. And I'm not going to show every plugin that comes with the Wave Golds, but it comes with a lot. It comes with EQ, compressor, amp emulator, and a delay, more compressors, this thing. So if you want to get into music, want to buy some plugins, and want to use something that's not the default mixing plugins, then I highly recommend Waves Gold Bundle, especially when it's on sale, which is every day apparently on Waves website. And I decided to just get some quick plugins just to show the stuff you can do, and I'm not gonna show every plugin, or else we'd be here for 2 hours. So here's a little sample pack. Yeah, by the way, I also have a Splice subscription, and I also recommend that. So here's a little sample from the Surge Tank-In pack that I just saw yesterday, and I got really happy. I got the entire thing. Here's them playing drums without the Waves Gold effects. And here's it with. Yeah, I just threw on just an EQ, a compressor thing, a bass booster thing, delay, reverb, a whitener thing. I haven't used all the Waves Gold Bundle, but those that I need, I've been using it a lot, especially these Waves plugins. All these three are in Waves Gold. It's the audio track, the SR, which stomps on the SSYS, and limiter, which just makes it louder. And this is what made me love Waves Gold a lot more, because it has this plugin that's just an EQ, a gate, and a compressor all in one. And I've been using this along with these two on every voiceover narration for all How to Make episodes. So here's a little voiceover thing I recorded. Hello and welcome to Pagefire, where I talk to a microphone and you listen to me, the sexy one. And here's with. Hello and welcome to Pagefire, where I talk to a microphone and you listen to me, the sexy one. You guys have no idea how hard it is to be the sex symbol of Pagefire. Yeah, this is why I just love the Waves Gold, especially this. I've been using this a lot, and I highly recommend it, especially for voiceover. So one thing that comes in the Waves Gold Bundle is guitar. Guitar. And it's just an amp emulator, and it sounds pretty good. So if you just want a decent amp emulator, along with a bunch of other plugins, Waves Gold, getting on sale, which is every day now. But I think what I use mostly with it is actually the stomp boxes, just to get an instant decent effect. If I'm too lazy to find a chorus effect, I'll just throw on a guitar stomp effect and just be like, okay, let's get a chorus. Let's just get a chorus down there. There. Chorus, done. And I've also been using it to just play around to get different synths and drums and sometimes bass and guitar sound, sometimes before and after effects. So yeah, if you just want a decent amp emulator, I guess guitar works, but I would recommend it more for the pedals rather than the amp emulator. So here's a little random preset with a Surge Tank-In guitar. And with effects. And with distortion! Too quiet. I love making things sound worse. To be honest, I slightly understand harsh noise wall musicians a little bit more, because destroying things in music is kind of fun. Except when it's not musical, but that's just me. Maybe that's why I hate harsh wall noise and noise elitist. Anyway, here's a plugin that I already talked about, the King's microphone. I've been using this a lot on like vocals and sometimes guitar and drums just to get that lo-fi effect. Hello and welcome to Pagefire, where I talk to a microphone and you listen to me, the sexy one. And I already talked about this in the video, link in the iCard thing. So yeah, next plugins are the Claw or the Lord-Alge, which is just an effects chain in one plugin that's set up in a way how Lord-Alge would do it. But yeah, I only use two of them, the Unplugged Claw and the Vocal Claw. I know the name's here, but it's funnier to say Claw. Yeah, and I've been using this one a lot. The entire Rubius and the Hagrid album has this on the vocals, because I'm too lazy to properly add compression and reverb to make my vocals sound unique. No, I'm just I'll just plunk this down. That's one, I always use this one on acoustic guitar, and I might use this on other acoustic instruments once I start collecting them. It's just pretty decent, and it makes my acoustic guitar sound slightly better. So yeah, let's listen to it. I have a surge tanking guitar, which you guys already heard. No filter. Hashtag no filter. And here's a little vocal I downloaded from Splice that matches the key in surge tanking. Hashtag no filter.
You're not picking up. I'm not giving up.
Yeah, I slightly sped up because it's a little slower, so I matched them up. Anyway, here's both of them with effects.
You're not picking up. I'm not giving up. So easily. So easily.
It sounds a little off for me, but it's just a demonstration. And that's why I would recommend the Claw plugins, just to get an EZMix chain down. The next thing is the Marroquin. How's that pronounced? Marroquin. Marroquin. Manny Martins. The Manny Martins plugin. I don't have all of them. I don't have the pack. I only have this one because it was on sale, but I might get the entire thing because this distortion sounds pretty good. And again, I like to make things sound ugly and weird. And this is what I throw on when I just want a quick distortion sound. And here's a little vocal I downloaded from Splice without effects.
Till God's a bone, steals my oxygen.
And here's with.
Till God's a bone, steals my oxygen.
And here's it with less treble.
Till God's a bone, steals my oxygen.
It's a pretty decent distortion plugin. And the next plugin is EZMix for EZ Master. Aren't I funny, guys? Yeah, this is the plugin I use when I just want an easy mix and master. But to be honest, I actually use it a lot more for the bass preset, especially the metal bass beats pack, and I highly recommend it because you get a bunch of nice bass sounds that all fit for rock and metal, and it just sounds really good. And again, you don't have to do any adjusting, just two knobs, maybe volume, and you're done. So here's a Surge Tankin bass. As you can tell, I'm really happy Surge Tankin released a sample pack on Splice. And here it is with an EZMix bass effect. It's very subtle, and I can try a different one. Let's try a more dirty one. So yeah, the metal bass beats pack in EZMix just sounds really good. Okay, next up is Loki Bass. I already made a video talking about this, link in the card thing. But yeah, I mostly use it right now. I've been using it a lot more after I made the video because it sounds decent, but it also sounds digital and off. So I think it just sounds perfect to make sort of more digital, more robotic kind of bass sound, in a lot of metal songs. I'm going to use this in the next episode and probably in all future music. I used this on Rubius and the Hagrid's Unicorn Hunter, Fluffy the Three-Headed Doggo, and also used this and a blend of real bass on the Pornogrind song Menstruation Bukkake because I wanted to get a little blend of the real and the artificial, and I mostly use this one just to get a little bit more low end, and I combine it with a real bass just to get that effect. And here's a little MIDI thing I made. And also what I love about it is that you can actually customize the way it's played. So right now I set it so it only plays down notes. I can probably adjust it so it plays palm mutes as well. Actually, it's also pretty easy to get palm mutes. Get palm mutes, done. Pretty easy. There's your little bass thing. Yeah, it sounds very artificial now. That's because I haven't bothered to humanize it properly. But that's what I kind of love about it. And also it gets a really low tone. Yeah, like a really low C, and I love that. Next plugin is not Laserhawk, Elements 2. This is actually a pretty good and decent beginner synth. And you're probably looking at this, if you've never done any synth work, you're probably looking at this and going, oh, it's a lot of buttons, it's confusing. But it's actually really simple to learn once you start to understand what each section does. And this helped me understand more, like, okay, this is like the tone section, extras tone section, and makes it like if you only want one note or like keys. This is FX, this is ADSR. And once you start understanding how all this works, you start to appreciate a lot more how synths are built. And also, this one also has an ARP, so if you guys just want an easy like ARP maker, then this one's pretty it. This one's pretty it. I'm keeping it in the video. And yeah, by the way, this laser sound is the same laser sound. And by the way, this preset is the exact same preset I used on the outro song Juggler Stomp to get that sort of a happy, bright synth on it. Don't know why I decided to write that bouncy tune. But here's another example just to show you guys how good this is. This is an ARP preset, but turn the ARP off. And here's an example using ARP. I'm pretty sure you guys can make like much better melodies than this. These are just examples, and yeah. So if you just want a basic, simple synth to learn, then I would recommend this, but not 100% quite because it is a little complex to understand. But the synth I actually recommend much more than Elements 2 is Serum. Where's the Serum? Serum. One of them is correct. And what I actually love about Serum, fuck, I'm confused myself. What I actually like about this plugin is that, you know, you can rent it or just pay it full. I'm currently renting it, just to try it out. And to be honest, so far I love it. And just like the previous synth, this one has like just two sounds. Again, you can customize it and then add LFOs, so you can like do this, so it will bend with the music. Sound will move exactly like this in a cycle. I know synth words. I actually recommend this synth as a beginner plugin to learn about synth programming, and I'm using it now, and I'm appreciating how synths are made much more. And also what I love about it is, of course, the effects. You can just plonk effects down and, of course, rearrange their order. So it's just a really good synth plugin. And here's a little melody I made in just like 5 minutes. Yeah, what you heard right now was actually presets I randomly picked out. And here's some presets I made in my own boredom. If you guys are wondering why it sounds a little 8-bit and simple, you'll find out in the next how to make. I'm sure most of you will be happy. For beginner synth, I recommend Serum or Serum, how you pronounce it. And by the way, I forgot to mention, all this that was in green are stuff that I used in YouTube videos or used in making the songs for the YouTube videos. And now we're getting into plugins that I didn't use in YouTube videos, at least not yet. And this is Glitch. Now, how to explain this plugin? Have you guys ever listened to Igor? Or is it Igor? Young Frankenstein fucked my mind on how to pronounce words. You know, in the band Igor, when he has like glitchy drum sounds and synth effects, and you're like, how can I get that effect but easier? Well, dBlue's Glitch. So basically what it does is that once it hits a certain point here, it will trigger a random effect. Or like, it will be random when it has the letter R, or you can set the effects yourself so it's not that unpredictable. And that's how you kind of get this glitchy sort of effects. So let's just play it. Yeah, and it sounds pretty good. And the best thing of all, it's also free. And I highly recommend it if you just want an easy way to make glitchy kind of sounds in your music. And there's also a new version that I'm actually considering getting soon, and actually allows you to actually stack these layers above each other, so you can have like a retrigger and a modulator at the same time instead of just one at a time. And I'm looking forward to trying that out. And yeah, I'm definitely gonna use this a lot more. In fact, if you guys listen to Juggler Stomp, it actually opens with a piano, and when you start glitching, well, that's this effect. And next plugin is EZKeys. Now, EZKeys. Now, it's a pretty decent and really good piano plugin. It allows you to do even add keys and then change keys, and it'll change with it, and it's kind of cool. But I don't find myself using it that much anymore because a lot of my music has become a lot more metal-based, and I actually started using a free piano plugin instead of this. But I still recommend EZKeys if you guys just want an easy way into piano and also an easy way to understand music theory. Like, it has the circle of fifths, and you can easily learn circle of fifths using this and how to make chords, and it's actually kind of cool. I wish I spent more time learning this than to just randomly pick keys and hope they sound good. And I got this piano on a sale. It actually sounds pretty decent. I know it sounded like I put the glitch plugin on this, but I didn't. That's just the sound card lagging. Yeah, it sounds pretty good, but again, I don't find myself using it that much lately. Anyway, next plugin is one I've been using a lot, especially because of Splice. And it's Sitala. I actually learned about this plugin while just randomly Googling for like free drum plugins. And I found a video by, I think it was Reaper Blog, who recommended this. And I'm like, yeah, I actually recommend this myself. If you just want an easy way to use your Splice samples, a way to just easily trigger the samples. And you can also do minor customization, like, compress and shape and just tune it a little bit. Just the volume, the tone, and the pan. The only thing I wish this could do was allowing you to adjust the sample starting point and end point. Because right now, a couple of my Splice samples, for some reason, they don't start exactly on the beat, and that kind of irritates me. Well, it does also create this kind of weird wonky feeling. I kind of like that, but at the same time, I wish I could control that. Yeah, did I mention it also comes with a free sample 808 kit, so you can get the best cowbell. So yeah, with this, you can sample your drum sets and just have a blast and an easier way to use your samples. I also made this little simple loop. Yeah, what? Andri from Pagefire in the house. Next one is Pixelator. Now, this is from a Joey Sturgis collection that I bought that had this, Sub-Destroyer, and two other gain reduction and something else. I'll put them on the screen. But I find myself using Pixelator and Sub-Destroyer a little more. Pixelator sounds pretty good. It just lowers the bitrate of your sample, and that's it. And with that, I got a pretty decent 8-bit drum set from the Ramen Break sample. I also like to put this on like vocal samples or voice samples to get an instant like lo-fi kind of voice. And maybe it's just me, but I have a feeling in the future we're gonna see a lot more music using this kind of lo-fi sound rather than, the lo-fi hip-hop kind of sound where it sounds like it's on vinyl. Maybe not in like 10 years or 20 years, maybe in a long while, because I have a feeling music that sounds like this might become nostalgic in the same way we see lo-fi hip-hop nostalgic. Or maybe I'm just being an idiot because I can't see the future. Stupid Andri, can't see the future! Let's make fun of it in the comments. Please do. And here's a Sub-Destroyer, and basically what this does is you can use this to fire a Sub-Destroyer thing. You can use this at the beginning of a chorus or breakdown to give it a little more bass attack, and it also works as a little 8-bit sampler. And you can do other stuff like adjust frequency thing. Yeah, we have for this MIDI stuff, and you can also add distortion. And you can also add distortion. Who farted? Yeah, Sub-Destroyer. I haven't used it a lot, but I do recommend it, especially if you just want a little punch on your breakdown stuff. Next recommendation is just the Reaper plugins. I should have mentioned this earlier, but to be honest, I have a weird way of setting up how I introduce stuff. Yeah, when you get the Reaper DAW, like the default plugins, yeah, I recommended the VSTi Bundle, but even the default plugins in Reaper is like really good. Like this EQ is so good. It's a good EQ. Good EQ. Like seriously, this is a really good, expansive EQ, and you can add so many bits. And I always use this when mixing guitar. Just there. That's my guitar EQ. Feel free to copy. Although don't do this. I think this is actually a little too much. Like the compressor is really good. Like repitch is a little glitchy, but it still sounds really good. At Reefer, I use that to cleaning up background noise, and also just for general weirdness, because this is just an EQ that allows you to remove stuff. Here's a sample of Serge Tankian saying, hey. Like, you can get this effect. Why is it not going down? There we go. There, like, another way to get a lo-fi sound. And of course, retune. I used to use retune a lot when tuning guitars. Now I've moved on to just using a tuner on my app or using a BiceFX2 tuner because, like, BiceFX1 tuner was actually kind of off and that kind of irritated me, but I think they fixed that in BiceFX2. But even this default tuner is pretty good. You can adjust this so you can recognize the low tone, the tone of your bass. Like, you can set it so it recognizes the low tone of your bass. I don't know why I have it on this here, but it's just to show. Okay, next plugin is Isotope Iris 2. I haven't been using this a lot because it's a little confusing to me. But I'm slowly starting to understand how all this, like, synthing and patching, I'm pretty sure those are synth words. I think I understand the synthing in this synth plugin. Okay, it's just another sampler, and what I love with this is that you can use this to make, like, really fun textures. Like, this is just 3 sounds layered on top of each other, and I'm probably gonna use this more in the future because you can just layer stuff and create some cool textures by just combining different sounds. You can also isolate different part of the sound. Like here, it's doing stuff. I don't know what that is, but it sounds cool. I don't know the synth words. But yeah, if you want a really good advanced synth, and I recommend Iris 2, just know it's a little expensive. And my last plugin, I'm only going to talk about briefly because I already made a video about them, and they're disabled. The one knob series. Like I already talked about these knobs in a video, link in the video thing if it appears. But occasionally whenever I'm like, oh, I just want an easy filter, so I don't have to open an EQ, I can just like, okay, just use this filter thing. Or if I'm like, I just want to throw on some basic distortion on it, but not too much so it doesn't become too much. I'll just throw this on it, turn on to like 5 or 7 or whatever, and there, easy distortion. And I don't know why, but I decided to do this. I have every one knob part and it's automated like that. Boo! DJ something something. Yeah, so that's one way to make a weird drop. But yeah, that's all the VSTs I use and mostly use. And again, these are not every VST I have, but it's the VTs, the VTs I mostly use, either in making videos or just music in general. And again, a download link to all of them in the description. But don't just, use my plugins to just make your song. There's an endless world of plugins out there, and you just have to find the right one for you. So go out there and explore. And I don't know how to end videos. Trans rights, the end.